portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Welcome back to the Bahamas Tonight. We start the segment off with news from the police as a major drug bust by police this morning has several men, including a foreigner, in police custody.
Yes, Cleopatra Murphy was there when the men and drugs were brought in.
The interdiction efforts of the Royal Bahamas Police Force are showing significant returns after officers made a major drug haul, preventing millions of dollars of suspected marijuana from making it to the streets. 6 men are in police custody after officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit and the Police Marine Patrol Unit made arrests in waters off Andros around 12:30 Wednesday morning. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Seymour.
Members of your Royal Bahamas Police Force, while on routine patrol in the area of Mangrove Key in the Camps Bay area, intercepted a go-fast vessel with a quantity of dangerous drugs, suspected marijuana. Several persons were arrested, a total of 6.
Among them, 5 Bahamian males and a Jamaican male. For nearly an hour after arriving at the Police Marine Support Unit base with the suspects and the boat loaded with suspected marijuana, officers unloaded bag after bag onto the dock. Seymour could not give details at the time on whether or not the drugs originated in the Bahamas or abroad, or the estimated value.
We are at the early stages of the investigations, and this is where we are at this time. I'm just saying it for the first time while we're offloading, so can't give you an estimated weight.
Questioned as to how this bust compared to others, Seymour says that is to be determined.
I can't say that because we haven't waited as yet.
Police say they will provide more details on this latest drug haul when information becomes available. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Now to news from Parliament. The Public Accounts Committee, which operates out of the House of Assembly, now has the go-ahead to continue its probe into the urban renewal project. Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie tabled the report in the House this morning, which covered the period July 1st, 2012 through September 30th, 2014. The Prime Minister noted that the committee can now carry out its work and the government is prepared to assist in that effort.
We are now enabling the Public Accounts Committee, in accordance with the ruling you made, to be released, Mr. Speaker, to officially examine and to officially request the attendance of all parties who they would wish to appear. I would simply say, Mr. Speaker, that the government recognizes the level of accountability and transparency that is necessary for this matter, and the government is prepared, Mr. Speaker, to facilitate any what the committee would wish to do, whether in a public hearing or otherwise, and most certainly to facilitate anyone they would wish to appear before that committee, appearing before that committee, Mr. Speaker, because the government is able to defend itself. I so table.
House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major also read into the record a letter received from the Auditor General, Terence Bastian. In that letter, Mr. Bastian informed Dr. Major that going forward, there will be scheduled audits of various agencies.
Co-chair of Urban Renewal 2.0, Algernon Allen, congratulated the Auditor General for doing what he termed the right thing and acknowledging that the report should be brought before Parliament. He says both he and co-chair Cynthia Mother Pratt have no issue appearing before any committee to talk about the success of the program.
We are eager, happy to appear before the Public Accounts Committee. Urban renewal is a wonderful, indeed a spiritual story to tell. Urban renewal is a story of social transformation and renewal. Transformation, renewal of communities. More than 700 homes have been repaired here in New Providence in the last 2 years.
Labor Minister the Honorable Shane Gibson revealing in the House of Assembly today that National Insurance Board payouts about $20 million each year for industrial accidents. Now, in light of this, he said more must be done to ensure that safety protocols are established and adhered to in the workplace.
Employers that repeatedly violate the Act and put Bahamian workers and members of the public at risk. That enough, Mr. Speaker, is enough. It is anticipated that upon enactment of this legislation, the Attorney General will aggressively pursue and prosecute those employers that refuse to provide a safe and healthy workplace and fail to cooperate with officers of the OSHA unit. Not only does Job-related accidents and industrial injuries put Bahamian workers at a disadvantage, but increased absences from work by injured workers and members of the public result in reduction in national productivity and have a tremendous cost to our economy.
While supporting the bill, Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner did have some concerns over the length of time it takes for injured persons to receive those NIB payments.
I've met an immense number of individuals who have fallen in these workplaces that have dislocated their hips, their backs, and it seems like the extraordinary amount of time that they go through in seeking medical attention, many times they are denied, for whatever reason, the compensation from the industrial part of the national insurance contributions.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly. Officials from the Department of Inland Revenue will host a free seminar on value-added tax off tourist sales at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow at its Carmichael and Palmetto Roads office. Topics to be discussed include tax-off shopping rules, how the rules work, and who is eligible for tax-off tourist shopping. The seminar is open to VAT registrants who conduct sales with tourists. In other business news, Bahamian aviation law expert Llewellyn Boyer Cartwright said the Bahamas is moving in the right direction toward the launch of an international aircraft registry at a time when the industry is experiencing explosive growth and new ICAO regulations are likely to add an impetus to the private jet business. He believes a Bahamian International Aircraft Registry would be part of a booming aviation sector that is reported to support 4.6 million jobs and generates $107 billion in revenue across Latin America and the Caribbean. Boyer Cartwright has been invited to speak at the 5th Annual Offshore Aircraft Aeropodium Conference in Grand Cayman in October. And in international news, growth in the world's second largest economy, China, beat expectations in the second quarter, but it was still the weakest showing since the global financial crisis. The economy grew 7% from a year ago, matching growth in the first 3 months of the year, which was the lowest since 2009 when it fell to 6.6%. A weaker property market and factory production have hampered growth. But Beijing has rolled out a new series of stimulus measures amid the slowdown. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly.
All things must come to an end, and as they say, and the 2015 Workforce Readiness Training Program for Unemployed Women has now ended. A brief ceremony held at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute Tuesday night signaled the end of the 3-week program hosted by the Zonta Club of New Providence. Addressing the group, Social Services Minister, the Honorable Melanie Griffin, pledged more support for the program that afforded the 19 participants training in a number of areas, including dressing for success, resume writing, legal aid, and computer training. Minister Griffin encouraged the young women to now focus on succeeding.
It is now up to you. You have been given the tools. You have acquired some new skills and new knowledge. You can now build on your own strengths. I ask you not to think of this ceremony as the end of a training session, but instead as the start of a lifetime of learning and self-improvement. Seek out positive role models. Associate with those who have achieved what you want to achieve. Work on becoming a good listener, a critical reader, and a creative thinker.
Zonta Club of New Providence President Marissa Mason-Smith said 2 scholarships were set aside for BTVI, but the numbers were increased by an additional 3, where the recipients will enroll at the School of Nursing at the College of the Bahamas. Participant Moniqua Rogers described her experience as spectacular.
What's in a name? Well, the subject of this story suits hers inside and out. In this week's BTC Island Connection, the skills she uses to warm hearts and bellies. Here's Keishla Adderley.
Could you find a better name for a woman?
I asked my parents why you all named me Lovely, because everybody's teasing me about that name. But then as I grew old, I realized that's me.
It's much more than skin deep, though. This restaurant owner, who residents say makes the best pizza in Abaco and the biggest hamburger buns, was prompted by her daughter to take the initiative, which scores of less fortunate children on the island are benefiting from.
Came home. Every day she'd come home, she said, Mom, there are some kids who don't have any lunch. And I said,
so it was your daughter who brought it to your
attention? Yes. She was 6 years old. But it bothered her that there were kids coming to school who didn't have lunch. She said I would share. I said, but I can't give to everybody. Yeah. I said, you're right, baby. I said, you know what? One day Mom going to stop in and check and see what's going on.
What she found was scores of students with nothing to eat, and she couldn't accept that. Lovely's school lunch program was born. And with a monthly bill in the thousands of dollars, she got a pleasant surprise one day.
Well, one day, I was sitting at Matt's house, and the manager from BC passed by, and he noticed what I was doing. I was collecting funds to feed the children. So he said to me one day, one of the workers called and said, we want to do something, we want to help you. And I was like, yeah, right. And how so many people said, yes, I want to do something, I want to help you. And they never came through. But then he said, yes, I'm going to do this, and we're going to send international, that we're going to help you feed the children. And they came through. They give me funds that help, and it's really, because what I do too, I make sure the kids have uniforms and books and stuff, because they're kids who don't have all this stuff too. So that really helped me to get some of the kids ready for school and help with the other stuff that they needed along with the program. So I truly appreciate them helping me.
Walking into the kitchen with its tantalizing aromas was a treat, and acquiring my latest culinary skill, an even bigger one.
You can use your fingertips with the smaller. So it's all in the wrist action.
Each meal is made with love, and BTC is proud to be a main ingredient.
I was so happy when I was able to present the idea to our marketing department, and PR and I volunteer, and they approve this project so that we were able to help them. It makes me feel really good, like as a corporate business community, that we're really doing something out there to help the people that help us to be where we are.
Keishla Adderley for the BTC Island Connection.